All right, so right now we're going to be on section 4.2, example number 3. And it says f of 4 equals negative 2, and f of 8 is equal to 4. Now, what, Colin?
Can you put it on the computer?
I did.
You did?
I did send it to you. Check your MPS email. All right, so for this one, here's what I'm going to do. Here's kind of the way that I treat this differently, is I'm going to take and rewrite it. So that first one that's on there where it says 4 on the parentheses, and then equals negative 2, and then 8 and 4, that's like this type of scenario. It's a 4 with a negative 2, and it's an 8 with a 4. This is telling you I'm putting in 4 and I'm getting out negative 2. I'm putting in 8 and I'm getting out 4. So those are the same things as these ordered pairs. 4 is the independent variable, and negative 2 would be the dependent. And same with the 8 and the 2, or 8 and the 4. So now, like yesterday, how we were talking, first thing we're going to do is find the slope. So I have to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's my first step. What's the second y? Four. Minus, what's the first y? And when you have 4 minus a negative 2, what happens with the two negatives? Turn into a positive. Good. On the bottom, what's the second x? Minus. And what I've seen more people do, and again, if it helps you, label these as x and y, so that way you know which one's which. Like if you have to, put x1, y1 above it. x2, y2 below it. So that way you know which ones go where. Because a lot of times what happens to people, how they make the mistake, is that they put in the x's on the top and then the y's go on the bottom. That's very easy to make that mistake. Okay, but look at the formula. Make sure everything's going in the right spot. Okay? On the top, what's 4 plus 2? What is 4 plus 2? 6. Good. On the bottom, what's 8 minus 4? Can 6 over 4 reduce? By 2. What's 6 divided by 2? And what's 4 divided by 2? 2. So it's 3 over 2, which I think is what you said, Quinn. Okay? Now, from here, because it says write a linear function. When you write a linear function, you want it in slope-intercept form. That's what we're going to get this into. But because I don't give you the intercept like we did the first section, I give you an ordered pair. We have to then pick one of those ordered pairs, and we're going to have to use point-slope form in order to get that into that function notation. Okay? So which two of the 2 points do you want to use? Do you want to use the 4, negative 2, or do you want to use the 8 and the 4? You choose. Doesn't matter. Do you want to use the 4 and the negative 2, or the 8 and the 4? 8 and 4? It doesn't matter which ones you use, you guys. You just got to pick one. So y minus, what's the y coordinate of the point that we're going to use? 4 equals 3/2, because that was the slope that you got. X minus, what's the x coordinate of the ordered pair we're going to use? 8. Good. First thing we're going to do is distribute. What's 3/2 times x? What's 3/2 times x? 3/2 x. Nice. What's 3/2 times negative 8. And if you don't have a calculator, how I do it is I take negative 8 times 3, which is negative 24, and then take negative 24, bless you, divided by 2. So what comes out?
12.
Negative 12. So again, how I worked that in my head was I took 3 times negative 8, which was negative 24, and then divided it by 2 to get negative 12. If you use a calculator, that's fine. Like, I want you to use a calculator too, but just so you know, that's how I did it. Okay? Now, how do I get y by itself? How do I get rid of the minus 4? Add 4 to both sides. Good. So I end up with y equals 3 over 2x. And then what is negative 12 plus 4? What's negative 12 plus 4?
Negative 8.
And that's number 3, or example 3. All right, so the next one that I want to do again, just to kind of remind you how to do this one more time, I have 1, 4, and I have 3, 10. So we're going to come up with the equation. First thing you have to do, remember from yesterday, is you got to find the slope. So which one is y2? 10. Good. Minus, what's y1? 4. Over 3 minus 1. Nice job. What's 10 minus 4? 6. What's 3 minus 1? 2. And for the win, what's 6 divided by 2? 3. You got the slope. And now that I got the slope, I need you to pick one of the ordered pairs. Does not matter which ordered pair you choose. Either one should give you the right answer. You just have to pick one. Do you want to use the 1, 4, or do you want to use the 3, 10? 1, 4. So y minus, what's the y coordinate of the ordered pair you're using? 4 equals the slope x minus, what's the x coordinate of the point you're using? 1. Good. After you've inserted, distribute. What's 3 times x? 3x. Good. And what's 3 times negative 1? How do I get the y by itself then? Add 4. Y equals? What's 3x had no friends, right? So just write 3x. What's negative 3 plus 4? 1. Good. So I'm going to give you another one, but I want you guys to try. And then we'll come around and check on you. Okay? So the next one, after I give you guys some time to get that down. Everybody got it? Four negative 1, 8 negative 4. And it's the next one on that thing where it says write the equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the given points. So you try this one, and we'll check on it. Because I forgot we didn't finish 4-2 yesterday.
Well, you said you weren't sure.
Yeah.
Okay, tomorrow.
Well,
So it's the inverse or opposite.
So the -1 minus a -4.
What's the opposite of adding?
Exactly.
Yeah. How are you doing?
And then you have, what's the bottom?
Good.
-4 minus 8.
I think you missed something.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, then you need to put it in the equation.
Oh, do you want to use my eraser pen?
Okay. So,
I think you forgot to find the slope. You know how you labeling y1, x1, y2, x2, then you gotta use that to find the slope, just like you did here.
Okay. And then you're on the top.
Pretty slick, huh? Okay, find your slope like you did in this one. y2 minus y1. So what's your y2 and y1? So what I usually do is I just label this x1 and y1.
So I can,
Not just your y1. Okay, then that's gonna be your x2 and your y2.
that's how I was doing it.
Is it coming up to you?
Overachiever.
Okay, so there's, so negative
What's
4
-1 times -8?
minus negative 1.
What's 8 divided by 4?
Yeah, that becomes plus. And then
So
you
this is-
have 8 minus negative 4. Yeah, that's what I think you're missing. So, with this part right here.
That'd be sick.
Well, if you divide it by 2, what can you take if you divide by 2? It's hard to know. Does that give you a whole number? No. Yeah, use 3. Yeah. Would it be positive or negative? Yeah. Good. Okay, now, kind of this one, look. So your 8 doesn't go there. I think we just have to do a simple bit. So under here, let's copy what he's got. Liz, it's on the board, you're gonna miss it if you don't write it down. Match, Mitchell? Does it match what's on the board? How are you looking?
All right, so now, I know some of you guys are still working, but I'm gonna start talking you through this so that you can see. if you have it right or if you have it wrong by some sign issue, probably. Not saying any names or anybody. So when you're setting this up, again, I like to put, you know how I told you guys I like my X1 and my Y1, like I label that stuff? I do that for me so that I don't mess up and put them in the wrong spots, okay? So slope is y2 minus y1, so I put -4 minus a -1, but notice how it kind of looks a little goofy, because remember when you have two negatives in a row, it turns into a positive, right? And -4 plus 1 is -3. On the bottom, I end up with 8 minus a -4. And again, that turns out to a plus because there was two negatives in a row. And 8 plus 4 is 12. And then when I reduce that, what number goes into both -3 and 12 is 3. So I divided them both by 3 and I got -1/4. That's my thing. Now, I looked at some of yours and some of you guys use the 8, -4. I chose to use the -4 and -1. It shouldn't matter what ordered pair you use. Like I looked at Quentin's and I know he used this one. I used the other one. And we got the same answer. And we should. As long as we do it right, as long as we're careful. And a lot of times what happens is because of a sign, it throws it off. Okay, so when I put it in there, I went y minus a -1, but two negatives make it a positive. -1/4 was the slope that we found. Parentheses x minus a -4. But what does a minus and a negative make? A positive 4. Then when I distributed, and this is what Brianna and I talked about as far as the distributing part. When I distribute here, I end up with -1/4 x. But when I distributed here, I know I watched Quentin do his, and he would ask me on that one specifically. But for me, what I did was I took -1 times 4, which is -4, divided by 4, which is -1. Okay? That should be a negative right here. Then, in order to get rid of a +1, I have to subtract 1. And -1 minus 1 is -2. On yours, it was different, but it ended up still coming out with -2.
Yeah.
It was like a 6 and a 4 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay? So that's the answer for that one. Then the next problem for checking was it says G2 equals 3 and G6 is equal to 5. And you're doing the same directions. You're trying to come up with the equation. So remember how I went with this just at the beginning of today. This is the same as the ordered pair of 2, 3. The 2 in the parentheses is telling you what number you're putting in for x. This is the same as 6, 5. This number is your x. This number is your y. Okay? So let's do this one together. What's y2? 5 minus the 3. Good. What's the second x? Minus. What is 5 minus 3? 2. Over. What's 6 minus 2? 4. Now, here's another thing that I've seen many students do is I have 2 divided by 4, and a lot of times what people do is that they give me the answer of 2. And what they've done is that they've taken the big one divided by the little one automatically, or they flipped it and reversed it or something, I don't know.
I don't know what you know.
I know. I did that just for you. But it's really just reduce the top over the bottom. That's what it's asking you. Okay, so what number goes into both 2 and 4?
2.
2. What's 2 divided by 2? 1. And 4 divided by 2 goes down to 1/2. So you were already giving me the answer. So there's my slope. Brianna, which ordered pair do you want to use? This one or this one? 2, 3? Okay, and I asked Brianna just because I trust her and I value her opinion, but it really didn't matter what she said. I would be able to work it either way. If I did the top ordered pair or if I did the bottom ordered pair. So y minus, what's the y1?
2.
What's the 3?
Oh, it's a y?
Yep.
It's
X minus, what's the x coordinate now?
2.
2. Distribute. What's 1/2 times x? What's half of -2? -1. How do I get y by itself? Add 3. And for the win, what's 3 minus 1? You got it. So as far as under the checking for understanding part on that page, that's the last one there. Then the last thing that we got to go through is example number 4, which, and we're done with this section, I think. Yeah. Says the student council is ordering custom foam hands to promote school spirit. That doesn't matter, none of that. Okay, whatever. They can order anything. The table shows the cost of ordering different numbers of foam hands. All right, so we got a table there. Can the situation be modeled by a linear equation? Explain, and if possible, write the linear model that explains the cost as a function of the number of foam hands. So here's what they want you to do for that. When you're given a table, you need to see if there is a constant rate of change. A constant rate of change also is a slope. Because when we talk about change in, we're really just talking about a constant or the rate of change. That's what slope is. So when you have something like that has a chart that has 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and then you have 34, 46, 58, 70, and 82, what I want you to do is help me out and identify how are the numbers going on the top. From 4 to 6, how did I go? I increased it by 2. How about the next one?
2.
How about, and the next?
2.
And the last?
2.
Is that all the same?
Yes.
Good. How about from 34 to 46?
2.
34 to 46. How do I go from 34 to 46?
12.
I'm adding 12. Good. How about 46 to 58? 12. How about 58 to 70?
12.
How about 70 to 82?
12.
Good. If you notice that they're all the same numbers, so the bottoms are all the same, and the top ones are all the same, then you can make a line out of it. If they're not the same, let's say the bottom was like, it went by 2 the first time, then 8 the second time, and then 14 the next time. That's not linear. You can't do it. It needs to be the same number increased on the top and the same number increased on the bottom. Not, and let me clarify, not the same both top and bottom, but the same, every top is increasing by 2 and every bottom is increasing by 12. That's what we're talking about. Not all of them are increasing by the same number every time. So since we can, then what we do is now we write our equation. What you're doing with this 2 and the 12, you're basically telling me the rise and the run. The way the table has it set up is it has it set up like this, where this would be the y and this would be the x. That's what it is. The number of foam hands on the top versus the cost of dollars in the bottom. X versus a y. So by you telling me that we're 12, you're already giving me the top number. You don't have to do y2 minus y1. You already have it. It's 12. And you don't have to do x2 minus x1. You already have it. It's 2. What's 12 divided by 2.
Hey,
6. Now, Julio, I don't care what number you pick, but I do value your opinion. So out of those ordered pairs, now remember, the ordered pairs in a table go like this. Ordered pairs go top and bottom like that, not sideways. Which ordered pair would you like me to use? 6 and 46? Okay. And just so you know, there was not a wrong answer, as long as it was in the chart or in the table. Okay? Julio picked for me to use 6 and 46. Awesome. So y minus, what's the y coordinate? 46 equals m, which was the 6 you just found, x minus, what's the x coordinate of the point that Julio picked? 6. Now I distribute. What's 6 times x?
6x.
And what's 6 times negative 6?
-36.
How do I get the y by itself?
Add 46.
What's negative 36 plus 46?
20.
Try again. 10. So when it asks you on example 4, can the situation be modeled by a linear equation? Yes. Again, the reason was the differences are all the same across the top and across the bottom. Then it says after that, if possible, so it was, write the linear model that represents the cost of the function of the number of foam hands, which we did, the 6x plus 10. If it was not possible, we would leave that part blank. So again, if you had a problem where, let's say this was up by 2 every time, which would be good, but then this one that was up by like up 12, up 14, up 16, that's not linear. That's something else. Okay? So if that's the case, where you check those, they have to be the same number across the top and the same number across the bottom. And if they're not, you can't do it. Okay? Make sense? All right. So that's 4-2. That was the end of 4-2. Okay, so that's what we're gonna, we're done with that part. So by the time I actually get the assignment up there, you'll have about maybe 10 minutes or so. Which means tomorrow I'll give you a day to work on it. Okay? So you'll have today and tomorrow. Again, if you have anything that you need to get to me, make sure you get it to me so that way I can put it in. Grade check is next Thursday. So a week from today is the next grade check. The end of the 9 weeks is on the 21st of October, so 20 days from now. Okay, so just so you guys know, it's that Wednesday before the long break.
Long break.
Yeah, we have a 4-day weekend coming up in a few weeks.
22nd and 23rd.
22nd, 23rd. Yep.